Hi everyone, welcome to this panel. I hope you're having a great time at Istanbul Blockchain Week. It's a real honor to see so many people at the event. So yeah, really excited about this panel, the L1 Conundrum, how to maintain an edge in such a competitive L1 landscape. And I've got some really exciting guests with me from 4 completely different leading ecosystems. So I'm really excited to hear about what you all have to say. But before we get started, of course, I think we should start with some introductions. So maybe Zoe, if you'd like to begin and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm from BNB Chain. So I'm in charge of the growth of the Europe region and also the global grants program. So we're helping all the projects to be built on chain. And if you're interested, please contact me. Yeah, thanks.
How's everybody doing today? This is kind of shows that blockchain is still alive, right? There's people here. I'm really happy to see everybody here. My name is Daniel Friedman. I am representing Input Output Global, the creators of Cardano, the Cardano blockchain. I handle business development for Input Output, and yeah, just very happy to be here.
Daniel, I think the morning sessions were much more crowded. I don't know. The crowds have thinned a little bit for our session, unfortunately, but yes, it's still well and alive. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here. My name is Selim Kender from the Avalanche ecosystem. I had Turkish business development for Ava Labs, both in country here and for the Turkish diaspora globally.
Hey everyone, my name is Denis. I am the creator and core contributor to Ignite. Ignite specializes in building developer tooling in the Cosmos ecosystem. So our products include Ignite CLI, the Launchpad, and we also have an accelerator. Excited to be here.
Thanks, Denis. Great to have you all with us. So obviously there's a huge amount, well, there's a lot of L1s now coming to market, and actually all of you guys have been around for quite some time in your relative ecosystems. So I'd like to know, actually, to begin with, what are your core focus areas right now? I know some chains are focused on gaming, some chains are focused on various other topics. Do you have a core focus area that you're looking into, or are you quite broad? And we'll start with Zoe.
Okay, for BNB Chain, we're quite broad. So basically, we're looking for innovative projects. So the business model is innovative, the token model is okay, the team is solid, they can execute their plan, and we're going to support them with all the resources we have from the token advisory, tech infra check, marketing support, investment support, all the stuff. So basically, all type of projects. To support this, we already developed a sidechain to support like maybe a social fi or gamify project to have the low gas fee and they can control their own validator, and also have the ZK Rolf solution for scale up the operation. So yeah, that's our plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Cardano, the main focus right now is building out robust tooling, which is what is needed to basically to amp up the ecosystem. We've been focused on things like sidechain development. There are there's also efforts into Babel fees as well. That's another thing that we're focused on. I mean, the main focus right now is basically to create an environment for the community to really fulfill the pillars of what Cardano is founded on, which is basically some of the pillars that most blockchain and crypto is founded on is banking the unbanked, opportunity inclusion, financial inclusion, helping economies and businesses leapfrog through blockchain technology. And so our main focus physically is tooling, but really mission-wise it stays the same, and that's basically mass adoption.
We don't have any, let's say, subsectors of the Web3 world that we specifically focus on. So we're kind of looking at all aspects of it, both crypto-native projects on DeFi, GameFi, NFT side, as well as trying to bring and encourage institutional adoption, whether through institutional investors or enterprises, real-world assets. And it's been kind of been a frigid pre-winter in line with crypto winter so far. So as Ava Labs, as the Avalanche ecosystem, we've mainly focused on lately on bringing new products into the mix. We're aggressively rolling out the subnets and developing the tooling around them. We have our extension and web-based core wallet out. The mobile is soon to come. We have introduced a new type of exchange, which is neither a CEX nor a DEX, but what we call an FEX, which is a fully encrypted exchange, and we expect this to become a more popular choice, especially starting with institutions, now that with the headwinds that the exchanges have been experiencing, unfortunately, because of the bad players that are around.
So Cosmos is an ecosystem, and it's a growing network of independent, interconnected blockchains. Ignite is part of the Cosmos ecosystem, and Ignite chain is focused on, its primary purpose is to help developers and validators launch new chains and coordinate around launching new chains. So it's not a token launchpad, but rather it's a chain launchpad. And when you're launching chains, you need to coordinate on who's going to be in the Genesis file, who's going to be a validator, which balances accounts have. So all these things Ignite chain helps people coordinate on. And currently we're in testnet phase, but it's already available for people to use.
So, you know, as a developer now, there's tons of choices. You know, different ecosystems are competing for different projects. You know, like how, like, you know, I think we're past the phase of like, okay, scalability. You know, we can all, I mean, think pretty much every chain here can do, you know, a lot of transactions per second now. So outside of the scalability issue, like, you know, what is it that, you know, makes your chain or your ecosystem more attractive, would you say, to projects that were thinking about launching with your chains?
Okay, so several factors. First, we're EVM compatible chain. So basically, if you know Solidity, it's easy to make on BNB chain. If you already develop on the chains, you'll start to learn the language. And the second, we provide the most support for projects and the developers. For example, our Discord is 24/7 hours running. So if you have any question about technical, about how to integrate any issue, so we're gonna help them. We have people there. And also we have the financial and the marketing like incentives. So we have the builder grants. So basically projects could get up to 50K for small grants and up to like maybe $500,000 if it's a large infra projects. So those are actually, we help to attract good developers on chain. And also, we're going to do a lot of side help. So for example, if you need token economic advisory, we meet with games who actually, okay, our games are perfect in Web 2, how to migrate to Web 3. So we'll provide them with first infra, like a 360-degree check, and also the token advisory. And also, we provide them with the VC connections. So Binance Lab is our largest partner for VC, and we also have a huge VC connection for us to connect the projects who deploy on BNB chain. Yeah, so and also marketing side. Basically, BNB chain itself has over 3 million Twitter followers and over 2 million active addresses. So we have a huge community globally and for people to adopt. And so basically, that's the reason we think people should choose, and this is how we offer to developers and projects.
So, in the Cardano ecosystem, it's important to kind of make a distinction between what the core development is doing to attract well, developers, and what are the different bodies in the ecosystem are doing. So, for instance, as far as tooling for developers, we're developing out whether there's EVMs, that have been built on Cardano that are available for people to utilize. There are domain-specific languages like Marlowe that's being rolled out. There is a smart contract language that we developed called Plutus that is a pretty straightforward language for smart contracts to be specifically developed on an EUTXO blockchain like Cardano. We also have development available in Scala. Basically, if you look at it from the infrastructure side, what Cardano does is it offers the developer a tool set that is built on a very stable core because we've been, I guess, criticized by some in the blockchain ecosystem for being slow. That we're slow to roll things out, we're slow to develop things, and that is because the approach that we've been taking is a peer-reviewed scientific approach to making sure that the features that we're building out have gone down that path. It's research-driven approach, attention to detail, attention to, say, zero-fault tolerance, QA. And so what that does for developers, it creates a tool set that is, I'm not saying it's bulletproof against, but it is very strong against being compromised by adversarial actors and, with all these different failures and hacks that we've seen in the past several months. It is very important to have that particular foundation to build on. And so our tooling is built on that kind of foundation, so that is very attractive to developers who don't want to worry about, is this thing going to get hacked? Is this thing going to get compromised? What are my vulnerabilities by building on the ecosystem? Now, core tooling aside, the ecosystem also offers a lot of different and very robust opportunities for people to develop in it. So, for example, our communities is one of the greatest communities I believe in the crypto ecosystem and the blockchain ecosystem. There's a lot of help, community-driven help for developers. There's a lot of developer resources. We have a very robust GitHub that is constantly basically getting commits and there's a lot of transparency there. There are third-party tooling that is coming out that is actually not developed solely by input-output or by Emergo or by the Cardano Foundation, but by entities like DC Spark, for example. That's a company in the ecosystem that is building out a lot of tooling that is not affiliated directly with any founding bodies. There are other ones as well. And so they have their own trustless bridges, and they have their own layer 2 solutions that bridge to other blockchains like Algorand, Solana. So that's very useful. It's the variety that's very useful for developers. As far as funding, so although we do have funds within the ecosystem that are focused on Cardano development or Cardano-centric projects, the ecosystem was designed to, my apologies, and I don't mean to offend any VCs in the audience, but it was designed to work without VCs. Now that we are completely against them, but what the tokenomics were designed to do is to create a treasury, and that's what we have right now. We have a ecosystem community treasury called Catalyst. It's the Catalyst Fund. And so essentially the Catalyst Fund is the native VC, if you want to call it, of Cardano. And so the Catalyst Fund, we're just finished up round 9. Each round has got several $1 million, I think about $8 or $9 million per round. And so what happens is projects in the ecosystem submit proposals to the Catalyst Fund, which again is community driven, and the community votes on it. And so that is how funding is attained through the Catalyst, is basically by community decision. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, there are other things. I don't want to take up any more of anybody else's time, but there's a lot of robustness happening, and it's very organic.
Avalanche is mission is basically to digitize all of world's assets. So we're very eager to provide developers with an environment where they can work on code and deploy their projects on Avalanche. To that end, as Ava Labs, as one of the main developers of the Avalanche blockchain, our first and foremost duty is to keep Avalanche up to date to the highest level of technology that's out there. We have a novel consensus system. We have a high transaction per second throughput. We have sub 1 second finality per transaction, which is very rapid. We have deployed bridges to blockchain and Ethereum. We're in the process of deploying the subnets. We've started in the middle of this year. That's been going very well. Subnets basically provides developers with a scalability solution as well, where projects with a lot of users can basically launch these subnets on their own, and that means that each subnet is a blockchain, can be a blockchain for that project alone, and it can be configured in a way where it is fully compliant with respect to any laws and regulations of any project might have with respect to either its subsector or the geography that it's under. We're a newer chain. We just celebrated our second birthday a couple of months ago, but we have also launched 2 big grant programs through the Avalanche Foundation, which was one of which was called the Rush program, which is still active to bring on decentralized finance applications to the system, and the second one is the Multiverse program, which is a grant program to enhance the use of subnets for projects to draw users and eyeballs to their subnets. Aside from that, you know, we are an EVM. We are also an EVM chain, but we're looking into other languages as well. We've just recently deployed the Rust SDK. Apart from the grants, we also have a ecosystem venture fund, where Avalanche Foundation, amongst with other investors, are LPs of this fund. So we provide support that way as well. I think we're running a little low, but you know, one other thing that I would like to add is, you know, if we think, you know, blockchain first and foremost is a technology, and you know, we're on the stage, we're all in this together, and if we think that, if our thought that this technology will be very, very widely accepted and rolled out, I think there's going to be a lot of work for developers on all networks that provides a reliable solution with high technology, quick finality, and high throughput. As long as there's no hacks, I think, you know, the future is multi-chain for those chains that survive these tough times and keep on the cutting edge of technology. Thanks.
So what I love about Cosmos is how diverse it is. So more than 50 blockchains right now are interconnected, and behind each blockchain there is a company or more than one company often. And there is no single entity that controls or manages or directs where this is going. It's mostly about people, stakers who vote in governance, and Cosmos is actually probably most used governance system in crypto. At least it's incredibly active, and stakers decide what is the inflation rate going to be, when we're going to upgrade the chain. So this kind of decentralization of management of all of this, of organization, is really cool. It's also very inclusive, because I like to say that Cosmos doesn't really have competitors, not because it's necessarily the best ecosystem, but because the mission is actually to connect all of the ecosystems with the IBC protocol or with other protocols, just to end up in a system where all blockchains are connected and users are free to move assets. On the technical side, I think it's incredibly flexible, one of the most flexible systems where you have absolute control over every level of the stack of your blockchain, so you can control the consensus engine. You can even actually swap it out for something else. Some blockchains did that as well. You can use a different framework. You can use different languages. So there's you can use Rust to write smart contracts with COSM WASM. You can use Solidity if you have an EVM module enabled. And of course, the recommended way, you can use Ignite to build Go modules with Cosmos SDK to get the maximum performance, and if you prefer the Go language. So these qualities, I think, define Cosmos: diversity, inclusiveness, and ultimate flexibility. And you can see that there is no really design behind the whole ecosystem at large. It's more about us building and seeing how it evolves, because originally, for example, we thought that there will be hubs that chains will route their transactions through. But right now, for example, the system hasn't evolved to hubs yet, so chains connect directly to each other. So it'd be very interesting to see where this system evolves next.
Thanks, guys. So, look, there's a lot of hype around new L1s at the moment, particularly Aptos and Sui, and before that, Near. You know, a lot of L1s kind of fell away in the last bear market, I think it's fair to say, or not so relevant anymore. So, like, how do your various different ecosystems, you know, remain relevant now with these new shiny L1s, you know, taking a lot of attention?
So you mean a lot of new L1, like, it's actually, to be honest, now the crypto industry is still very small. So basically, we're trying to create a whole ecosystem, trying to let more either enterprise or developers or projects build. So basically, I think it's a very good for more and more either layer 1, layer 2 to come in, so they can attract new attention with the new resource, and each chain has some differences, so I think it's definitely a good thing. So our position is very clear that we have the largest user base, where we have a lot of good partners, so like we can help projects grow very well. So, but we're also open to collaborate with other ecosystem. I think it's our joint efforts to make this ecosystem bigger. I think we're still very small, so.
Yeah, well, so, yeah, there's a big turnover, right? So there's constantly blockchains out there that are being born or going away or merging. And as my colleague said, and both my colleagues are saying here, I don't believe in the Highlander effect. You know, there could be only one. I despise maximalism, and you know, and we have maximalists in our community as well. Just like any community will have maximalists and say, well, this is the only way. This is the only way. I was on the founding team of Cardano. I helped like launch the thing pretty much from the beginning. Okay, so if anybody is a huge proponent of the ecosystem, that would be me. Aside from maybe like Charles Hoskinson. And I'll never tell you that Cardano is going to be the only way, is going to be the only blockchain to ever survive. Everybody else is garbage. I'll never say that. And I think that is very important to really embrace as an industry, is that, yes, healthy competition drives innovation, but so does cooperation. And so we just have to decide, and we have to see, okay, we are all on the same team in a way, because our mission is very similar. Our fundamentals are close. We're all in this because you know, we're into the whole blockchain thing. You know, we're into decentralization. We're into P2P currencies. We're into I guess driving the world out of this centralized banking cabal and control by the elite few, and to kind of giving, you know, I don't want to sound hippie, but kind of giving power to the people with technology.
Yeah.
And to do that, I don't believe that there's just going to be like one blockchain that does that. Each blockchain, of course, there's going to be blockchains, there's going to be complete garbage. They're going to go away. Might hang around a little bit, will go away. There's going to be some that are going to stay. We've been around for a long time. So there's Avalanche, so there's BNB, so it's Cosmos. And there is a reason for that. The reason is that there's a long-term vision. And the long-term vision is, I believe, cooperation through innovation.
But I agree, and I think, pre-answered your question a bit with my last bit of comments in the last question, in your last question, in that I also believe that it's going to be a multi-chain future. If, you know, right now, blockchain market share is tiny. So the more players are out there, the more good players that are out there that are working with integrity, are committed to improving the technology, basically, you know, rolling out their chains the right way. That means the gospel, so to speak, will reach more ears. It's not a question of right now, you know, different blockchains trying to get market share from one another. It's a vast, untouched market out there. So I think there is business opportunities for all of us. Those that do not innovate, those that don't act with the highest levels of integrity and ethics, I think they will disappear down the road. But I mean, just as a matter of capacity out there, if blockchain fulfills its potential, there won't be enough capacity that can be provided by just one chain that'll be enough for everyone. So I think it's a positive development that people are putting their you know, sweat, tears, and money into this industry, especially in these cold days. You know, as the overall market cap is, I don't know, it oscillates drastically these last days, but you know, let's say best case we're just at $1 trillion at this point. There's huge, huge potential for growth. So there's business to be had by, I think, all of us on the stage, and plenty of newcomers as well.
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues, and Cosmos from the very beginning was built as a multi-chain system with the idea that there will be many chains, right? Before this idea was even popular. At Ignite, we actually go a step further and think that there will be hundreds of general purpose chains in the future, but there might be tens of thousands of individual app chains. And every application may run on a sovereign chain independently. Some of these app chains might use shared security, some will use mesh security. So, but the point is, all of this will be abstracted away from users with user interfaces, right? So the user will not notice all of this complexity. It will be abstracted away, but it's still a very important scaling mechanism, I think, to think about individual apps running on separate chains, and I think it's a really scalable solution. And if we start building and designing for that, we wouldn't have to reinvent the system in 5 or 10 years if we think about this, like what is the system with ultimate scalability looks like, and to us it looks like that. Doesn't have to be tens of thousands of sovereign chains, as I said. Some of them do not require that sort of flexibility, but still, Ignite is not afraid of chains, L1s fading out of existence because we're building a system for launching new L1s. So of course some of them will go out of business and will be forgotten, but new ones will be launched and take their place.
So at least two of the four panelists, and probably you as well, Zoe, are working in some form of business development. So maybe you could share with our audience some of the recent, successes or wins that you guys have had, that you're quite proud of, bringing on-chain to your respective ecosystems.
Okay, so for two parts. So recently, the support part, we launched the builder grants. So actually, we just announced our October grants winner, and we're reviewing for November. So, and also we're launching the gas fee incentives. We're giving people projects like a partial gas fee if they reach a certain milestone. And also we're giving different token advisory for projects. So they're the supporting part we're doing. And also from the success part, actually, you see the top projects we're doing. It's like we have at least 5 projects over like 1K DAU. And in total, actually, BNB chain have more than 5 billion TVL. And in terms of active wallet address, we actually have more than 2 million. So those are all the achievements, again, by across different projects. And recently, there's a star project called Hooked. Actually, you can see that Deborah is already the top 10 projects with the viral growth of the users. So actually, we're seeing more and more projects onboarding to BNB chain. You can see from the final results on that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as business development goes, there's quite a lot of good developments in the Cardano ecosystem. From the IOHK side, we're continuing development with the Ethiopian Ministry of Education to provide digital identities for about 5 million students. So I believe that is going to be the biggest DID rollout thus far. We're very Africa focused, so we are doing a lot of work in various parts of Africa with digital identities, with traceability. So we have a traceability and digital identity traceability and authentication suite called Atala that we developed at Input Output. It's Atala Prism is the portal, which has various possibilities, and these are very strong blockchain-centric use cases that are going to be possible for businesses, for projects to utilize with Atala. Another good milestone that we're approaching right now is going to be Lace, which is basically a super dApp, and it's going to have all the best out of the entire ecosystem. It's going to have DeFi, it's going to have staking, it's going to have multi-chain access, multi-asset support, just basically a mosaic of various different items available. Sidechains is another very important and very exciting development that we're doing right now from business development side, because that will allow other projects to basically link with us and to utilize the robustness of various networks and have their own side chain to go with it. The Catalyst Fund right now is going to be entering round 10. And so at this point, we're actually, now I'm not sure if they're going to do it for round 10, but we're actively revamping basically a milestone and payback program. So where up until now, every single Catalyst Fund has just basically given funds to the various projects for development. Right now, we're starting a more rigid system with milestones where funds are going to be unlocked based on milestones and delivery, so that we can have better accountability from the projects. The ecosystem fund, I believe, is about $500 million right now. And yeah, it's going to keep going. And yeah, there's just a lot of really good, really solid decentralized fundamentals happening in the ecosystem. Like, for example, eventually the fund is actually going to be purely community driven, and so is the development. So we're reaching full decentralization in the next stage of Cardano development, where basically the ecosystem fund, the Catalyst Fund, is going to be completely community driven. We're not going to, right now, Input Output is managing parts of the fund, but we're soon going to be handing everything over to the community. So that's just a few things.
Yeah, I believe that product development and business development go kind of hand in hand, because technology and product development teams provide the tools with which the business development teams can go out and attract participants to the ecosystem, to the blockchain. Couple of differentiating projects that we have recently announced is, one on the gaming side. We have a few AAA games coming on board, and we also announced a pretty big deal with Gree, who are a Japanese Web2-based game developer that are coming to Web3 with a play and earn approach rather than play to earn approach. Another important milestone for us was KKR, which, as you know, are one of the largest private equity / asset managers in the traditional finance side, and they actually tokenized the fundraising of their latest healthcare private equity fund, and they did a portion of that fundraising through the Avalanche network, which I thought was very interesting, because these are generally institution-to-institution businesses, but this opened investment opportunities to a whole multitude of different type of investors, whether retail or institutional across the ecosystem. Another important case on the enterprise side that we're doing is, this will be a brand that Turkish people are very familiar with. TOG is our first electric vehicle to the outsider, but at the inside we call it a smart device, which will roll out certain use cases across the blockchain for their mobility use cases throughout NFTs, as well as their own tokens. So this is another partnership that we entered in and are going towards the rolling out of it, with the rolling out of the smart device at the end of the first quarter in 23.
So Ignite Chain is young, but Ignite CLI has been around for more than 2 years now, and I'm happy to see that so many new L1s have been built with it. Chains including Sonar, Kive, Stride, and dozens of other chains. So more than 20%, I think, of all the chains in Cosmos have used Ignite during their development process, which is awesome. And almost all new Cosmos projects also use Ignite. So we're looking with optimism to see more new projects launching from the Ignite launchpad in 2023.
Awesome. Okay, well, as you can see, we're over time. So thank you so much, guys. And also, if anyone would like to speak to any of our guests, I'm sure you can do so at the side of the stage and learn about their respective ecosystems. So thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of the show, guys.